Okay, we're now going to have a look at membranes and how we apply them. Behind me here, we have a panel. It's an insulated panel ready to go, but this method will apply to pretty much anything, especially with this timber frame, which is mostly where we use airtight membranes. So we had today, we're going to use a piece of INTELLO. We've spoken about INTELLO before. But what this is a airtight membrane. It's very, very good. It's a reinforced material, so it's very, very strong. It has marks on it to show you where to cut. Also has marks and lines on it to show you where the overlaps should be and where your tape lines are, which is great, because that means you can keep everything nice and straight. Now, initially, I like to think that attention to detail is important when it comes to airtightness. And usually the neater it is, the tidier it is, the more attention has been spent to it. And quite often is the best results. Most results I have for Passivhaus when they're airtight and new build is between 0.3 and 0.5. So we usually well below or below what is expected of a new build. Bear in mind that when it comes to a retrofit, we have to have a little bit more allowance, have to make a little bit more, give it a little bit more leeway, because you could, when you have a retrofit, you can only do the maximum you can do with the build that you've got. So with new build, much easier. So I start with, how do we get it level? Well, just mark it. What I've done is, because we have a panel here, I've just made it a simple gauge. So therefore, the blood that underneath, and I can mark the top of it, and I did as many marks as I like on that, and it's going to be exactly the same distance from the base to my line. Now the INTELLO itself. The INTELLO roll is 1.5 meters. 1,500 fil. So what we have to think about is overlaps. When it comes to a new build, or indeed a retrofit, the process will pretty much be the same when it comes to junctions. We want overlaps. We already passed the overlap on the vertical, on the horizontal EMR. On the vertical, we tend to go more, because we have to allow for waviness or outer squareness cut. I tend to go, if I can, up to 300 mil overlap on a vertical, just to make sure that it's all compensated for. On the horizontal, it's really clearly marked. Also, we've got to think of the connection of how we're going to connect the air tightness to the floor. I tend to go up in this 1,500 mil roll, 1,200 mil, 4 foot. On a new build where I've got the floor done, I just use my 1,200 mil lever, go along and use it as a staff. I like staffs because that means you've got everything parallel. If everything's level to start with and you parallel off that, then you're going to have a pretty good result. So I'm going to allow 300 mil to fold onto the floor. So when we do our airtightness on the floor, we've got lots and lots of overlap. And also, if you want, when you come to tape, you're not that far away from the wall. You actually have enough room to be able to work and try and get a really neat job. How do we fix it? There's a number of different ways. Now, on the instructions, it will tell you to use staples. We'll show you. We use staple. The issue I had with the staple is, even though it gets the cold, when you pull it, when you try and tension the material, it will actually fall through to a point. Not only that, when we do an air test, they may do a negative air test and they suck the air out. The membrane will actually balloon in, and any points that are connected with a statement could potentially could pop and become an air leak. So if you staple somewhere which isn't under a tape or an overlap, put a piece of tape over it. Those little bits can make a big difference. I tend to use a Clout nail. Clout nails, Clout nail, 30mm, doesn't matter. I use a 30mm because it's got a big head. Difference is, when you've got a Clout nail, you don't need to take it out. You can pull them more. And then you can get a backside and the tank side membrane. That's why I use a Clout nail. It's the only reason I use a Clout nail. Better fix it. If it'll still pull through. Right. When we come in to do airtightness, one of the things to look for is checking the boards behind. These boards have been nailed at a certain centre for maximum strength, for the racking strength from the board. It's structurally designed, but they're put together or put in with a nail gun. We all use nail guns. We'll be using them many times again. But sometimes those nails can vary and stick out. So it's always worth just checking over. Making sure that there's nothing sticking out, that when you put this on, you're going to put a hole or a puncture through the membrane. So we're now going to start now. I've already marked this up parallel. Come on to my first mark. Yeah, I tend not to put too many fixings in. I tend to keep my fixings to a minimum, because every time you put a fixing in, potentially it's another puncture, another area. once your first layer's on, nice and level, not too many fixings, but you do need to put enough fixings in to do the job. In other words, they keep it fairly taut. Because the thing is, when you counter batten or taping, it's a lot easier not to have too many creases in. Because potentially, if you have a crease in this, you have to make sure that your airtight tape is actually put within that crease. So you stretch the crease out and put the tape inside. So when you let go and the crease again, it's airtight. That's our first layer. You can see it's nice and clearly marked with overlays and now a tape line. You've noticed that where I can, I've actually put the nails or the fixings in the tape line. That way I either know it's going to be covered by tape or it's going to be covered by an overlap.